Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to the Blossom Experiment, to another solo episode with myself, your host, Cami. Today, we are talking about all of my tips, including mindset and also the actual 3D reality things that I use to stay healthy while I'm traveling. So, if you're new here, I've been traveling as a nomad with my intuition and being guided by my intuition for the past 2 years and a half. And yeah, I've lived in several places around the world, and all of them I was constantly being guided by my intuition. And that is a tool that I've really learned how to harness in my life so I could use it in several different aspects of my life, including my health and overall wellness. So, today we're going to talk about how to stay healthy, not only within my body, not only within your body as well, but also in your mind and in your soul. So, we're going to talk about a holistic type of wellness and also how you can harness your intuition to cultivate that in your life, especially if you're a traveler or if you are traveling for some amount of time, if you're a nomad or anything like that. I just want to preface by saying that those are things that work for me, and all of my guidance or inspiration here are the things that I learned that work for me and my intuition. But of course, everyone is different, especially when it comes to health. There's no one size fits only, and I want to start off with that because my whole purpose with this podcast and the whole work that I do and the whole message that I have is that we are all unique, and therefore we have our intuitions guidance that is unique, and it will be unique and different for all of us. So above everything, just take all of what I said with the guidance from your intuition, and please go within your own self to understand what is the most authentic way for you to create wellness. So let's start off with my first big underlying theme and background of how to stay healthy while traveling with your body, mind, and soul would be self compassion and allowance of change. And why I want to start with that is because I think that a lot of people, when they're starting to build healthy habits and they want a healthier routine and just healthier outcomes in their lives, they start approaching it in a very it's either all or nothing approach, and I think that that is very detrimental for the human that exists in us all, which have energy levels that ebb and flow, that have motivation that ebbs and flows, and has mental health and all of these things that have to be taken into account instead of us just writing down a specific meal plan or a workout plan or a meditation plan, a self care plan, and then forcing ourselves to fit into those modes and those plans as if we wouldn't ebb and flow, as if our energy and our what we want to do basically wouldn't ebb and flow and just change. So, what I love to always bring to perspective and to everyone that I talk about these topics is the idea of self love and allowance of change. So it's meeting yourself with so much compassion with wherever you are at in your current moment in regards to health and wellness and well-being, and also allow yourself to change and make decisions in the now that will support the human that you are today. So maybe yesterday I had so much energy and I, ended up going for a 30-minute run, and I was still feeling energized. So I did another workout at home, and I woke up feeling so centered, and I meditated and whatever. I had all of the things that I wanted to do to support my mental health and to support my well being. I was able to take care of on that day. However, today, for example, I wake up very tired and very, very depleted, and I just want to really rest in bed and I don't know, not really think about meditation, maybe doing some breath work, but that's all. Maybe doing some journaling. I don't know. I just feel really depleted. I won't force myself to do the same exact things that I did yesterday if today that's not how I'm feeling and that's not what I'm feeling like I need. And I think that when you normally in our lives it's like that, but especially I feel like when you're traveling and you're moving around so much and you're moving houses, you're moving cities, you're moving countries, there is so much self-compassion that we have to have with ourselves, because although humans they are intrinsically nomads, quote unquote, I think that could be very arguable. We are also humans who desire safety and who desire some sort of routine and just the overall sensation of the known and the security. So I think that it's really important, especially when you're traveling, to have so much compassion towards yourself and to understand and to meet yourself in whatever state you're in that specific day, because your energy will always ebb and flow, and therefore whatever you need in that specific moment will also ebb and flow. So I really wanted to start off with that, this idea of just allowing you to change and just allowing whatever your habits and your actions and your routine will look like to also change. However, in saying that, I'll also say that it's really easy sometimes to hide ourselves from the discomfort of doing certain things that in the long term will make us feel better. So it's really important to be extra aware and conscious of your body and of yourself to understand whether you are self-sabotaging and saying, I'm being self-compassionate towards myself, but you're actually self-sabotaging by not taking the action, doing the workout, eating the healthy meal, or doing the meditation. So I think it's so subtle, and it's so important to be really, really connected to your body to create this connection to your body and to your intuition to know whether you're coming from a place of self sabotage or you're coming from a place of self compassion. Because I do think that we can take the same action and come from completely different places. We can take the action of skipping a workout one day because we really don't want to put that stress in our bodies, and that is self compassion, because that's the best that you can do to support yourself and your body at that point. However, you can also skip that workout because you don't want to get uncomfortable enough to move, and that's just your default. So I always like to, use this as a trial and error. I know my body pretty well after dealing with years of disordered eating and body dysmorphia and just overall a lot of different challenges with finding the balance and finding intuition within my body, how to move intuitively, how to eat intuitively, and things like that. So for now, in this present moment, I have a pretty good understanding of where my body is at and what it needs. But of course, sometimes when I'm skipping a workout, I'll think to myself, am I self sabotaging, or do I really feel zero energy to do this? And then some days I realize that it was a little bit of self sabotage, but then in other days, which are the majority of the days, I would say 8% of the times, I realize that the next day, if I do skip the workout, I wake up with so much energy and so much motivation to actually do them. And then I realize to myself that, yeah, it's true. I actually have a really good understanding of my body, and I'm just respecting whatever energy levels I have in that day. So I allow myself to really flow with the changes of my body, of my mental health, of my emotional health, of my state of mind. I think that's really, really, really important to cultivate, whether you're traveling or not. But yeah, especially when you're moving around so much, that's something that I really learned how to do, because when you're traveling around so much and you're alone, you have so much time and space to figure out your state of mind, your energy levels. And yeah, I just ended up really going in my body and my intuition. So that's something that I learned how to do very well, and I'm really grateful for, and I really inspire you to do the same. So yeah, connecting to your body, your intuition, and having self-compassion and allowing you to ebb and flow. Next up, I have in my other very big tip to staying healthy is figuring out your why. So, why do you want to set up a new movement routine, or why do you want to set up a new meditation routine, or a new way of eating, or whatever healthy habit will look like for you in this moment right now? Asking yourself the why and finding the intention as to why you want to do this, it's super helpful to actually allow you to stick with those habits. So is it because it's going to help you feel really good in your body, or it's going to support your mental health, or it's going to keep you grounded? For example, this is a really big one for me. Whenever I am moving around a lot, going from place to place, I love having a kitchen and cooking myself the same meals every day, because this helps me ground and come back to myself and come back to the sensation of safety and the sensation of home in a sense. So the same goes to my workouts. For example, whenever I step on my mat, either to practice yoga or to do this other exercise that I've been talking about a lot, that I'm going to share further on in the episode. So stay tuned for that. Whenever I step on my mat to do this exercise, I feel like it's my little home that has been accompanying me since 2019 all over the world. So when I look at my feet and I see like my yoga mat, I know this sounds so weird, but whenever I see my feet on the yoga mat, I just feel like I'm at home. It's like my itinerant itinerant home. I don't know, my moving home that comes with me to all of my other homes in the world. So yeah, I think that for me, this is like a huge why as to why I do that. And of course, if I skip workouts for more than 3 days, I normally start feeling really stiff in my body, and I start sleeping really bad. I start getting a lot of anxiety. I feel ultra stressed. So I know that I have the conscious and the awareness that when I skip workouts for longer than 3 days, normally this is what starts to happen. Sometimes I have to skip it for longer days because I don't have anywhere where I can do my workout, or I'm just moving around too much and I'm super tired, and that's okay. But in general, I know that this type of routine just allows me to feel better in my body. And then eating is the same thing. If I eat too much out of home, normally in the fourth day or something, I'll start feeling like I can't eat anymore. I start feeling nauseous. So I know that eating in a certain way also supports me to just feel nourished and take care of my body. So, yeah, I think that it's really important to get into your why. And that is the thing that will anchor you back to your habits, your healthy habits. Because at some point, when you are in those days that you really don't want to do them, you come back to your why, and it's easier for you to motivate yourself to stay consistent, even if it's in a different way that you're showing up. But if you have a why that is deeper and bigger than just like having the habits, this will normally really support you on staying consistent with them. And then the next thing that I would say is that after you discover your why, which are the habits that are key to match that why? So for example, for me, it's keeping myself grounded. So what are the habits that will support me to get there? So for example, having a kitchen in wherever I am staying, that's really important for me, so I can cook, because this helps me get do something which is cooking that I feel at home when I'm doing, and it helps me feel grounded, it helps me feel centered. Working out is the same thing. Whenever I meditate in the morning, it helps me just center back into myself. So I think that one thing that's really important is starting with your why. And then once you uncover your why, then try to think about what are the actual habits that will support this intangible why and intention that you have. So is it meditation? Is it some type of self-care? Is it eating in a certain way? Is it moving your body in a certain way? So yeah, just asking yourself this question is going to be really helpful for you. And then, especially if you're traveling, the question is, how can I adapt them to my travel routine? So make do I need to make my meditation or my workout shorter? Do I need to, if I can't have a kitchen, for example, should I aim, or could I aim for at least one healthy meal per day? Or if I can't, I don't know, cook all the time because I'll be off and traveling and like going to a co-working or something like that? How can I maybe find a meal in the supermarket that will be similar to the one that I would cook at home or something like that? So how can you, once you figure out your why and then uncover all of the routines and the habits that would actually support you in achieving this why, is then how can I adapt them to my travel routine? Because again, I think that when you're traveling, it's so easy for us to go to the 0 or 100 mentality instead of finding the balance and the compromise of, okay, this is my life right now, and for this specific month I am in this studio, but I'm not gonna be here forever. So it's not like you can really ground there forever and then like go to a Pilates studio and then take a whole year on that Pilates studio. Or I don't know, you can't fit a lot of food in your fridge, for example, so you can't buy a lot of, I don't know, cheap meat and then freeze it. There are several different 3D reality part of traveling that sometimes will impede you from making the most that you can out of your healthy habits and your routines. However, there are always ways that you can show up for yourself and adapt those routines and those habits in a way that it will work for your life. So, for example, if you are living in a space, for example, me, I'm living in a space right now for 1 month in a studio that is really, really small. And I have a really small kitchen and I don't have an oven. And I love doing like baked veggies, sweet baked potato, and things like that. But I can't. So I am dialing it back to the basics in my kitchen and being like, okay, I can survive by eating this and this and that. I know it's going to be a little bit boring, but that's okay. Like being really gentle with myself and saying, having compassion for where I'm at and meeting myself where I'm at and being like, okay, it's not going to be the most exciting meals ever. You're going to eat pretty much the same thing for lunch. You're going to eat pretty much the same thing for dinner and pretty much the same thing for breakfast. But that's okay because at least I know that I'm taking care of myself and I know that I'm cooking and being grounded and just yeah, taking care of myself and nourishing my body in this way. All and my intention is not to be creative in my healthy routine. So I personally authentically and intuitively don't care if my meals are the same, and I know I have a connection with my body enough that I know that if I get bored, then I'll just either try to cook something else or I'll just go out for a meal, and that's okay. And again, having self compassion and meeting myself wherever I'm at in that moment. Or if I'm really tired, I'll order something in or whatever. It's again this idea of always meeting yourself wherever you're at in the present moment, not making a big deal because you are eating a burger 2 times a week, or if you are bored of cooking and you should cook or something like that. Taking the should out of the table is really, really helpful in how to stay healthy, especially in your mind, in your mental state, because whenever you put the should and the pressure on your mind, it just stresses more the body and the mind. And then there are many, many consequences that come with that, especially um, water retention and, yeah, overall other several different things in the nervous system that comes from stress. So putting the should and the pressure doesn't help. That's why I always start with self-compassion and allowance of change. So coming back to this idea of how can I adapt my routines and my habits to my travel routine, to my traveling, is so yeah, that's what I mentioned about the cooking is one, and then the meals, and then your movement routine. My movement routine changes every time that I'm in a new country. So when I was in Greece in the beginning, it looked like, even if we go really, really way back, when I got to Portugal, it looked like mainly yoga. And then I started running. I didn't have money to go to the gym or anything like that. So I used to do workouts with YouTube. I ran. I did a lot of yoga because I'm a yoga teacher. So I was self teaching myself yoga. And yeah, after that, when I went to Greece, I had more money. So I signed up for a gym. And then I discovered this other program that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, which is Whitney Hoover Refinery, which is a workout that is like a sculpting with cardio, with Pilates. It's like this beautiful workout that is extremely low impact, but it's so strong, especially for your core. And I'm obsessed with this type of workout. I'm a 400-hour certified yoga teacher. I always have loved these workouts that are a little bit more conscious or aware, like in a sense that you can really feel each muscle and those weird little muscles that you have in your body. So I love doing those. So after I found out about her type of workouts, and I'm going to put all of the links on the show notes for the episode if you want to try it, I highly recommend this one. I stopped going to the gym and then I just started doing that. And then, yeah, I was doing that for like 6 months. And then eventually I started running again. And then I started doing some sessions as well because I was missing maybe heavier weights. And then when I went to Brazil, I barely did the subscription, the WH refinery, because I was going out to on workouts with my mom and my sister. So, it became a family thing. And I was doing like boxing. I was trying out other type of strength training. So yeah, it changes a lot. And then now that I'm here in Paris, I'm not sure how long I'm staying. So I'm back to my subscription to WH refinery, and I'm doing them a few times a week, 3 to 4 times a week. If I have more energy, I'll do like a 40 to 50-minute session. If I have less energy, I'll do just a 20-minute session. That's something else that I really, really love about her program and her subscription, is that there's so many different classes that you can choose from, especially depending on your energy level. So yeah, make sure to definitely go check her out. She is just amazing. Her workouts are amazing. I love the flow of her classes, and I just feel so feminine and strong as well when I do them. And it's been one whole year that I'm with her. So yeah, I just love her classes. And yeah, sometimes I do some running, not every week because it really tires my body. So yeah, it just, you have to adapt. If I'm constantly in this mentality of, which I had before in my life when I was going through my disordered eating and body dysmorphia phase of my life, I used to think that the only type of successful workout would be to spend plus 1 hour at the gym plus a cardio. Otherwise it wasn't an efficient and successful workout. And it's so hard, nearly impossible, to carry that mentality into a nomadic lifestyle, a nomadic way of living, because sometimes you're in a city for just 1 week and you're gonna stop your whole thing and you're gonna like figure out your whole entire life around the gym, and then block yourself from visiting the country that you're in or the city that you're in because of the gym. It's like, for me, it doesn't work. I don't want to be a slave of my workout routine. So I worked a lot on my all of all of the shadows that I had, and in healing this distorted mindset that I had. And nowadays I'm in a place which is way more balanced and way more intuitive when it comes to working out. So I never think that working out has to look like a certain way, or that I'm failing if I don't do an X amount of sessions for X amount of minutes per week. And it's way more freeing. So it's a routine that frees me and supports me rather than enslaves me and keeps me constricted and, yeah, just like a victim of it. And that is really, really important to do, especially when you're traveling, but also I think in your life. So one tip for you that I really like to do is that I like to have this 1 hour blocked in my calendar for every day that is titled in as movement. So I have a Google Calendar in which I put all of my to-dos for the day, and I always have this recurring event that's called movement, and it's for 1 hour and it's every day, including the weekends. And what this does is that it helps me keep in mind that it would be supportive for my body to move in any way. So that could look like 1 hour of walking, or 30 minutes of running, or the WH body refinery sculpting classes for 20, 30, or 40 minutes, or whatever, some yoga, Pilates, a HIIT session, whatever I want it to look like in the day, it would be supportive for me to move. So instead of calling it a workout session or a gym session, I call it a movement block of time that could be interesting for me to have. And what I love about this mindset is that it's a movement. It can be whatever I want in that day. And sometimes I delete the event because I really don't feel like moving, and that's okay as well, without judgment, without guilt. Just a cute reminder for me to have there, and to make sure that I'm prioritizing this as well, because I know that sometimes, life can get in the way, and it's like 9 p.m. and you're like, where the fuck has the day gone? And you didn't even remember to prioritize yourself and your self care. So I really like to have that scheduled in. And of course, I move around the time. It's not always the same time at all. I really flow with it because my schedule is really flexible. But yeah, I just like to have it scheduled in. So I remind myself to do it. Sometimes I also schedule in, for example, meditations in the morning and journaling, just to make sure that I don't forget to prioritize myself and my well being. I think that's really, really important. Another point that I wanted to bring on here, especially when we're talking about adapting your healthy habits to your traveling routine, is that small and consistent is always better than big plus inconsistent, because it helps you stick with it, and it helps you show your brain the type of person that you are. So whenever I want to start building a new habit and I am still, in the beginning stages of it, I always start small, and then I start, piling things on top of it, than just starting really big and going all in and then not being able to sustain it in the long term. So when I started working out, for example, I used to do this like long, long, long years ago. I used to do these 20 to 30-minute workouts, and I did them consistently for like 3 4 months, for like, I think it was like 4 or 5 sessions a week or something like that. And it helped me start to like exercise, like the way it made me feel and things like that. And so nowadays, when I'm starting a new habit, for example, meditation as well, just start with 10 minutes per day. Don't start with like freaking 40-minute meditations per day. You're not going to be able to sustain it. Some people can, and some people work in this way, but I would say that you're setting yourself up for failure, because if you're already putting the bar this high, and then if you don't achieve it, you're just going to feel like a failure. The chances that you're going to quit and just drop it are way, way bigger, rather than if you are compassionate towards yourself and you're saying to yourself, okay, let's just aim for 5 minutes of meditation per day. It doesn't have to be a freaking 30-minute session. It's just 5 minutes. And then if you feel like adding on top of it, you can add on top of it. But even on the days that you are feeling really, really low in energy, it's so much easier to be consistent with 5 minutes than it is to be consistent with, oh my God, I have to do a 40-minute meditation session. Like, what the fuck, or even it's easier to do 5 push-ups when you're feeling low than doing more than that. And then if you know that you have to do a full gym session of 1 hour, your brain is just gonna be like, no, I don't want to do it. So staying consistent with smaller actions in the long term will make you, the 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 results that you're gonna have in the long term are way, way, way bigger. And also in the in the short term, it's just gonna help you be more consistent. And then from that consistency, you're gonna start seeing yourself in a different way. Your brain will start realizing that your identity is shifting, and it's so much easier to stick with a routine and a new habit from your new identity than it is to from a old identity. So if you start shifting your identity into someone who works out and who takes care of themselves and who likes cooking and meditates, it's easier for you to stick with those routines in the long term, even if they ebb and flow, than if you are someone who already thinks of yourself like someone who doesn't work out and hates working out and hates cooking and has never meditated 1 second in their life. It's just, the brain is going to be like, of course, like this is not for me. So I'm just going to stick with my old habits. It's just way easier. So I really like the small and consistent, because first, that is so much self compassionate magnetism in there. There's so much self-compassion in this. And second, it also helps you start shifting your identity, and that in the long term is just gonna, yeah, bring you so many gems and help you be really, really magnetic. The last thing that I'll say is for you to always come back to your why. So in the days when I don't really want to show up for myself, I go back to my why, for example, being grounded, and then I figure out what's the small way in this present moment that I can show up for myself, so I can stay, so I can be more grounded. And sometimes that will look like taking a nap, and sometimes that will look like going for a walk. I remember there was this day here in Paris in which I woke up and I was feeling so tired because I was sleeping super, super, super badly. It was really hot. It was hard for me to adapt to, being a new bed. I was just, yeah, feeling really ungrounded, and I woke up and I was still feeling super tired. I couldn't do anything throughout the day. So I decided to take a nap. I actually took a 2 hour nap because I was just done. I couldn't focus on anything. And then I woke up still feeling a little bit groggy, still feeling not my best. And I could have just continued sleeping. But I understood with the connection that I have with my body that at that moment, the best for me to do was to go for a walk and just breathe some fresh air and see some nature and things like that. So I decided to go on this walk with no podcast, no music, no nothing, just me and the whatever was in my surrounding. And then after 50 minutes and 1 hour walk, I felt so much more grounded. I felt so much better. I felt like my mental health was better. It wasn't a huge thing that I did. I napped and I went for a walk. I had so much self compassion with myself because on that day I had planned a lot of work for myself. I wanted to record a podcast and everything. However, I didn't sleep well. Like, I'm not going to force myself to fit into this mode of my routine that I have all of these things planned if I really don't feel my best. It didn't even feel bad. I just felt like minus 100 of myself, so I think that's really, really important to find the self-compassion and find the small things that you can do to support you in your why, and being really, really just gentle with yourself. So before we wrap up, I would really like to just share some of the platforms that I use to stay healthy and just that support my wellness while I'm traveling. So the first one, as I said, is WH Body Refinery. It's this subscription service that has the sculpting, Pilates, like dance, cardio sessions. It's really hard to explain, but yeah, you should definitely go check it out. I'm gonna put the link for it on the show notes. And then this is for what I use for my body and for workouts, and then what I use for my mind and my soul. It's the subscription from To Be Magnetic, which is this beautiful platform that I've been using for, yeah, I've been subscribed to them, I think, for 3 years now, maybe. Yes. Oh my God. Wow. Yeah. This is the longest I've ever been subscribed for something, I think. So these are two platforms that I really, really genuinely love. And yeah, so To Be Magnetic, they have a subscription which is called the Pathway, and they basically have a lot of different meditations, a lot of different online courses. They help you a lot in, manifestation, finding your authentic self, finding your magnetic self, uncovering your magnetic self. It's just such a beautiful, full of content platform. So I highly recommend them as well. I'll put the link for the To Be Magnetic platform here in the show notes as well. And for To Be Magnetic, I actually have a code, a discount code. I think it's either for the first month or the months after that. I think it's 10 or 20%. So yeah, make sure to use my code in that as well for you to get some discount and try it out. And yeah, I'm sure you guys will love it. Love it, because honestly, I would never talk about something that I'm not obsessed with, and I am obsessed with those two. I always constantly am telling about them to my friends. So yeah, you can trust me on this, and yeah, you can always try it out, and then if you don't like it, you can just cancel it. But those are the things that I have on my phone and on my computer, so I can just take them everywhere with me, anywhere with me, and then yeah, just press play on that meditation while I'm going for a walk or wherever I am in the world, even on planes. You can download the meditations on your phone. And then what I do sometimes if I'm flying is that I'll just have them on my phone and then do my plain meditation, and that's also a really great hack. So another thing that I really wanted to share is that I am starting to onboard clients for the intuitive wellness program that I'm creating. So as I talked about throughout this entire episode is the idea of how intuition can support you in your wellness and in your well-being and in this journey of yours. So I have, for the past many years, over 4 or 5 years, I've been learning how to cultivate this relationship with my intuition and with my body so I can really understand and be conscious and aware of what it needs in whatever time that it needs. And mind you, I used to be someone who was extremely disconnected from their bodies because I went through periods of disordered eating, of body dysmorphia. I didn't have hunger cues. I didn't have satisfaction cues. I didn't have any cues. I didn't understand my body. I hated it actually, and I hated the way that it looked. I constantly looked at myself in the mirror and thought I was seeing something when the reality was not at all what was being seen by my brain. So I just feel this really big purpose and intention of wanting to help other women, other people in this journey, in the journey of connecting back to themselves, connecting back to their intuitions, and learning how to cultivate wellness from the inside out. So, this is a huge purpose of mine. And I'm a certified IIN integrative nutrition health coach. I am a yoga teacher, a 400-hour yoga teacher as well. And I've done several other coaching and spiritual certifications in Reiki, for example, in human development and healing coaching. So, yeah, this is something that I feel a huge calling to help people with and have a lot of knowledge, a lot of skills that I would like to share. So, if you are interested in participating on the intuitive wellness program, you can just send me a message, a DM on Instagram at cami.minerbo. You can also check out the website page for the Intuitive Wellness Program to understand a little bit more of it. I'm going to put the link for the website on the description of this episode. And as always, feel free to message me, to DM me, to ask any question that you like. And we can hop on a free 30-minute call to just discuss how and if whether this program would be a really good fit for you. But yeah, if you're wanting to create wellness from the inside out, you want to create this connection to your intuition, to your body, and get out of this prison of your mind and just create habits and routines and a mindset, especially that will support you and expand you rather than imprison you, then this program would really benefit you. So yes, I think that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much, as always, for listening. Make sure to share this episode with anyone who might benefit from it. Also, make sure to leave this podcast a very good review in whatever player you're on. Make sure to share it in social media, share this episode with your friends. And if you want to send me a message or ask me anything, I am always available in my Instagram at cami.minerbo. And yeah, I hope you create a very beautiful and authentic and healthy, whatever that looks like for you, intuitively week. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.